Hello and welcome to FreeFromFood, where we'll be making some gluten-free mince pies. If you want to check out how to make the pastry for this video that I'm going to be creating, press the I up in this corner up here, or press this video around here. And we're going to be turning that pastry into some really nice gluten-free mince pies. So first of all, we're going to want to make some gluten-free pastry. So for that, we're going to want to get the butter, the flour, and we want to incorporate a bit of sugar as well. And all we're going to do is we're going to mix this up and turn it into breadcrumbs. One thing that you can add in at this point, or before this point actually, is a bit of xanthan gum, and this is just to act as the gluten in the pastry. So here we have some gluten-free pastry ready to use for our mince pies, and all we're going to do now is wrap it up in cling film, stick it in the fridge for 15 minutes, and then we can use it for our mince pies. Okay, so the pastry has come out of the fridge. It's been chilling for about 15 minutes in there, and we're now ready to roll. The problem with gluten-free pastry when rolling with a rolling pin is it cracks really easily. So number one, the reason we chill the pastry is for that reason, is to make sure that it's cold enough so when you roll it, it doesn't like melt everywhere when it's too warm. But also, if it's too cold, it will crack really easily. So we're just gonna get a bit of flour onto the top here, and we're just going to get this bit of pastry here, and instead of rolling it, we're just going to first of all pat it down, and you'll notice around the edges of the pastry you'll see it sort of cracks a little bit, but that is absolutely fine and totally okay for the first few squishes, so to speak. And we're just going to turn it upside down, maybe get a bit more flour on the worktop, because the main problem with gluten-free pastry is it sticks and it crumbles, and that's really not very good for what we want to do. So we're just going to go around like this, and you're sort of tapping it and peeling your palm of your hand away from the pastry as you tap down. The problem with using your hands though is you can't really tell if you've got it very even, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter too much, because the way we're going to be putting it into the cake trays will sort of fix that problem anyway, so we don't need to worry about that too much. Now we've got our pastry flattened down, we're just going to get a large cake cutter or cookie cutter, and I'm just going to cut out as many squares as I can out of this sheet. Cool, so we got quite a few out of that one. So now we're going to use some paper cases that we got here. So just going to lift these up, and they're not too fragile. With the pastry mix that I've come up with, it's really easy to move around when it's as small as this. And I'm just going to quickly show you here that when you've got it in the paper case, you just want to flatten it out so it's even thinner than when you rolled it out, and just about to the edges, but you want to leave a little bit of a gap as well. So now we can get our cupcake or little pastry tin here. I'm just going to push this in. So we're just going to do this for the rest of the bits of pastry. And sometimes you will need to use a spatula to get underneath the pastry where the flour's sort of lost its stick. But also, when you get these paper cases, obviously it wouldn't be as flat as you want it. So it's going to be shaped like a cupcake. But all you do is you use your index finger and your middle finger on both hands, and you just flatten it out so it's completely flat and ready to use for the bits of pastry. So now it's ready to put the pastry in, push it down, and you flatten it out. And you're going to do this for all the bits of pastry. Okay, so with the amount of pastry that we've made, this round of pastry that we've got, this makes around 12 mince pies, but we've left with a little bit of pastry to the end, which is fine because we want to have a little bit of decoration on the top. What we don't want to do with gluten-free mince pies is have too much pastry on the top, otherwise it does get really dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to get either a holly leaf, which you may be able to see here, or some different holly leaf shapes, but this one's like a push-out one where you can easily get it out, which is really cool. And I'm just going to roll this out one final time with a bit more flour. Obviously, you can just use this leftover pastry to make even more mince pies, which I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, but we're just going to squish this down one final time. Okay, so now we've got our 12 bits of pastry here and 12 little decorations to go on top. I'm just going to get this jar of mincemeat and just going to get 2 teaspoons, 1 heaped teaspoon like that in each one. Perfect. And now what we're going to do is place these little decorations on the top. So these mince pies are ready to go into the oven at about 180 degrees C for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we take them out and see what they look like. And there we go, 12 gluten-free mince pies ready to eat straight away. And talking about eating them, I'm gonna give one a little go. It just melts in the mouth, and it's really, really crispy. You wouldn't even know it's gluten-free. You've got to give this a go. Right, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, of course. And hope to see you on the next video. Goodbye.